Okay, welcome back. Sorry the delay. We have short time. We're gonna finish around 6:40 the most. Okay, please let me know about the time. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do, please go to this sheet, the first one, the one that says VLOOKUP exact match. VLOOKUP exact match. And you have text in the line 9, correct?
Yes.
Go a little down, very a little down with the scroll down, down to down. Yeah. The first thing we're gonna do, I just want to check. I just want to check something. I just want to check if everybody knows. If we know, we keep moving forward. Sometimes I can have in this field, this is gonna be F3. Everybody goes to F3. This is just a refresh because this is very useful. Mr. Chin told me, this is good feature. Do you know how to use it? So just to practice this feature. Let's say that sometimes you need to put names here, but you don't, let's say that you need to type these names. 3 delicious, ABC, XCI bites, wholesome, but you don't want to type all the names, but you want to pick them from a list. We have done this before in the class. How do you do that? Like instead of typing the names here, I want to select with a little arrow here, click and select from these options. In this case, I only have 5 options, but we can have 100 to 200 or 10 or 20. So it's clear. Instead of this field, this is a cell. I want to put a restriction in this cell that people cannot type, but only can click and select a name of the customer, but using this array. If you remember, please let me know. You know it's here. The first thing you need to do is go to click. In F, that's gonna be F3, right? Where you have the name. In F3, we're gonna go here in label data. This is on the top, data. And then we got this, what says data validation. Some laptops doesn't have the description, but only the icon. Try to look at this icon, which is like a check mark.
Can't find the label data.
Okay, on my way. But you have to go here upstairs. Look in the top.
Home.
Data. No, not from home.
No.
Some data?
Data, yeah.
Home.
And then data validation. You see it? I'm gonna be there in a moment. And then choose the first option, the one that says data validation, and it's gonna pop up this menu here. Okay, you got it, Kelly? Great. Remember, this, we are working in the format of this specific cell. By default, every single cell is able to what? To allow any value. We have settings, we have input message, and we have error alert. Here in settings, by default, every cell in Excel is by default any value. We're going to change this for what? List. PIM. Look, we can say any value, whole number, decimal, date, time, text line, custom. We're going to pick or select list. What are we saying? That we are going to, in that specific cell, which is F3, we only are going to allow people to choose from a list. So Excel is saying, okay, where is the list? What is the options that you want to show? In this case, I'm going to put just this list. So it says allow list. By default, this is ignore blank in cell dropdown. Where it says source, I'm going to one click in source, and then I come here with the mouse and select what are my options. This is an easy example, only 5 options. But if we have more options, we can keep going with the selection. Once I finish, and you see, what is this? Kelly, this is a range. It's telling me you're going from B2, column B6, B2 to B6. This is and it is anchored. You see it's anchored because it's not going to move even if I copy. So I just go there and hit OK. And look what happens now. When you come here in name and you try to type any number, any name, it's going to give you an error. But the only way that you can actually put some information in here is if you come, you see the little arrow to the right, and then you click, and then you will have the list of the options. Why is this good? Sometimes you need to, people, for example, in production, you don't want them to make mistakes, typing names of the customers. Oh, what are the orders that you just processed? You can have the option Walmart, Amazon. So they only can select, and you are avoiding the typing errors. Okay, question. This was just short and sweet to remember this. Okay. Please do it with the customer ID. We're going to do the same just to practice with the customer ID. We want to have a data validation here, but in this case, we're going to take these IDs. This is going to be the range. Yeah, Charles?
Yeah, no, I got a message here. In the top one? Okay.
In the same, but not using the names, but this selection. Let's do it together so we can move. I'm going to go, the first thing, we need to tell Excel where I'm going to work. I'm going to work here. So I go click in F2. Once I'm here, I go to data validation. I select the first one. Boom. When I got this, oh, and listen, you have more, you can put titles, you can put input message for the people, for the users, error, when you want to customize your error. So I go to settings, instead of any value, list, and then it asks me, okay, what is gonna be the list? In this case, the list is gonna be the customer ID. This is just an example. Okay, so now people is not able to type, but they need to select one of these numbers, okay? Just to warm up, let's do a warming really, really simple. Let's do an VLOOKUP here. Please erase the F3, erase it. And we need to undo the data validation in F3 because we want to type a function here, You follow me? Let's go to F3, and we're going to go to data validation. We're going to try to undo that. So I go data validation, and I'm going to hit what? Any value, right? Any value. Okay. So now I'm able to type here again. Please let me know everybody's there. Now look, this is what we're going to do, an easy VLOOKUP just to warm up. This is the easy VLOOKUP. We want to have, remember the VLOOKUP, where do you type the VLOOKUP? Wherever you want to get the result. So in this case, what I want to do? I want to come here and select any number, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. But every time that I choose a number, I want to see the name of the customer here automatically. How can we do that? This is an easy one, and we have the table here. Every time I choose a different ID, as soon as I click the ID, boom, I want to pop up the number here, the name. As soon as I click here, I want to pop up, for example, in this case, number 3, I want to appear here automatically, ACMA bits. I don't know how to pronounce it. Right? When I select the number 2, I want to have here ABC groceries, right? When I select the number 1, but this needs to be automatically. And we can do it with the VLOOKUP here, the easy VLOOKUP here.
Or when the name.
Yeah, we're gonna start typing the VLOOKUP here. Okay, start typing VLOOKUP here. VLOOKUP has 4 attributes. The first one is lookup value. That's the connector, the question. The second one is the table or the array. The third one is the call index number. And the fourth one by default is false. Let me know if you did it, if it's working. And we can do it together. Okay. I'm gonna put here. I'm gonna do it using the wizard. This one. Okay, here's the VLOOKUP. First question, please, everybody. Look, these are the 4 attributes for the VLOOKUP, okay? These are our nodes. The lookup value, the table, the index, and the false or true. This is a logical answer. So what is gonna be our lookup value in this example? What should be our lookup value here?
A2.
What?
A2.
A2, boom, this one. Say something different, Millet?
F2.
F2, right? F2. Why F2 instead of the A2? Just because we are looking, remember in the example, I'm changing this number from 2. I want to see the number, the name of the number 2. For 1, I want to see the name of the number 1. For 2. So actually, we are looking up this value. Whatever is in here, this is the question. Imagine the boss. The lookup value is the boss. Hey, Millet, what is the name of the number 2? What is the name of the? That's always the question. So the first step, this is the lookup value. And in the lookup value, we are not going to type 2. We're going to type the reference, F2, correct? Okay, great. We have our lookup value, F2. Yeah, we can type it or we can click it. Let's do it. We can type it or we can just click, boom, here, F2, you see? Now, second question, table array. We don't have to concern about the commas here because we are using the function, this option, the function menu. What is going to be the table array? What is going to be our table? Where are we going to get that information?
The range.
The range. But from here,
From B2.
Actually from here, it doesn't matter the header, but we are going to take it from here. And this is the second important thing. Remember, the lookup value is F2, right? And the lookup value is what? Customer ID. The lookup value has to be the first column in our range. It has to be, if the customer ID is here, between the name and the nodes, we need to move it. We're going to see that with the X lookup, it doesn't matter. With the VLOOKUP, it matters. So you have, before you start typing the formula, make sure when you identify your lookup value, that lookup value has to be the first column in your range, okay? So now we got our range. You can name this range as a A1 to C8 to C6, sorry. Or you can use the table because this is a table. As soon as you select it, Excel says, oh, this is the table number 1, all the attributes. Different ways to name the range. Then this is the answer. Column index number is just a number. That's the third attribute. This is the answer. What are they asking for? What do we want to pull here? The name. Where is the name? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? Number 2. So, because this index is referring to the table, the range that we just selected. So number 1 is going to bring us the ID. Number 2 is going to be the name. If we click here, number 3, what's going to happen? What will be the result?
Notes.
The notes of that customer, okay? So we're going to have number 2. And very important. Imagine that you have your customer ID here, but the name is here behind. Somehow the name is behind. You cannot bring information from behind, from outside of your range. Okay, just to keep that in mind. That's why this one has to be the first. Or if you selected this range only here, 2 columns, but you want to see the notes, it's not going to work because your range has only 2 columns. So the range is very important and it's attached to this one. And the last option, we have 2 options, true or false. We're going to use false, which is exact match. Exact match. Everybody has it like that. F2, the table, number 2, and okay. So now, look at the bar. This is what's happening. It's looking the blue in the red area, and it's bringing the number 2, which is the name, and it's looking for the exact match. What is the magic here? That when you change here for any value, you're gonna get the name right away.
You can do it opposite, right?
What is opposite?
Like you were looking for an ID right now, but you can do it for name, right?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. Ingrid is saying if we can do the opposite, like having here the arrow, select the name, and bring the customer ID, we can do it. But what do we need to do with the range in that case? If we are looking for name, in that case, name will be our move the column because name is going to be in that example
That's right.
will be our lookup value, and the lookup value has to be the first. So we need to move this one to the middle, boom, and then we can pull. So please do really fast the next one. What will be the next one? What else can we pull from that table?
Notes.
Notes. So please put a nice header here and VLOOKUP, pointing what lookup value, the same lookup value, because you want to bring the name and the notes, right? So it's gonna look at the same lookup value, which is F2. We only need to change one thing from the other formula.
So I have a question.
Yep.
I know that false is the default
Yep.
option because it's exact match. I've never really used true,
The true?
but I mean, if I just tried it, I typed in true and it showed the exact same value. So
Yeah, that's a very good question. The true is, for example, here we are looking for customer ID, right? But here we have numbers 1, 2, 3. But let's say that this number is going to be 2.5. One example. 2.5, for example. Or I'm going to put another one. I'm going to put 6 for that example. 6. If we have true, in that issue. Oh, if we have false, like exact match, and you put here, I'm gonna give you the example. Right. No, I'm gonna give you the example here. This is a perfect example. We're gonna do it in a moment. We already did it before. In this case, we have cookies order. Don't get confused. This is an example. We have cookies order, right? And order IDs, and we want to know how many free cookies we want to give to this person, depending on how many cookies did he buy. Okay. So, for example, we have a table here. This is our reference, but they establish from 0 to 99 cookies, 0 free cookies. The person who ordered 100 cookies is gonna get 5 cookies. The person 200 cookies is gonna get 10, like that. But what when a person ordered 150 cookies? In 150, if we use the VLOOKUP with the exact match, it's not gonna give any free cookie because 150 is not here. So in this case, we can use the true. So if you order 150, it's gonna go to 100 or to 200, and it's gonna give you the cookie because it's gonna look the closest match. We realize in that exercise that the VLOOKUP with the approximate match goes from 100 to 199, 5 cookies. From 200 to 299, 10 cookies. So any number, even if it's not the exact match, you can bring the result. This is a good example to use the true. Yeah. Yeah, it is. But the most of the time you want to have the exact match, and especially when you're working with names, because if you have some other customer that the name is ABC Groceries 2, remember that the VLOOKUP is a vertical lookup. Start looking from here. Let's say that we're looking for name. The VLOOKUP is a vertical, start looking from here. If we use the true, in that example, ABC Groceries 2, for example, or Miami Lakes, as soon as it finds a closest match, it's going to stop there and it's going to give us the result. That's why names is better, or when you know that you are using IDs or codes or items, it's better go to the exact match. Because if VLOOKUP is going down, looking, and finds something similar, it's going to stop and it's going to give you the result. Yeah? Okay, everybody got the notes? Let's do it together. We can copy the formula. We can do it again. It's better to type it. I like to type it here. Lookup value is the first question. Remember question. This is the guy. Lookup value is going to be the same because I'm looking at the same value. The table is going to be this one. Still the same table, comma. And the index, this is the difference. This time it's going to be the third column, 1, 2, 3. And the exact match, close and enter. And then when you move here, you got the name and you got the notes. Sometimes this happens when we are working with the Excel. Let's see this merge, this wrap. This is a very useful, it's an easy tool. Remember, it was like that. Sometimes remember that this information is only in this cell, which is F4. Here, this cell is empty. Look, how do you know that the content of the cell? Here in the bar. So when you have information like that, like acting weird, you can use the wrap text. And it's gonna, it depends on the size, but yeah, the most of the time the wrap text is gonna put it good. Okay, questions here? Good? Okay.